Today we have a brand new Marvel Snap season, and with a new season comes a brand new card. This month's Season Pass card is Nebula. Nebula is a 1-cost, 1-power card that gains power for each turn that your opponent does not play a card at that location. This will be great in a storm location, a location that's locked down like Kiln, or to bait the opponent into being able to trigger your other Guardians by enticing them to play into the Nebula lane. However, she has one major drawback. That's Killmonger. The first few days of her release, I expect Killmonger to be everywhere. You can try to protect your Nebula with armor, but that is 2 cards that you have to draw early to ensure her safety. And even with that in mind, the first deck that we're going to be covering is going to be a Sauron Nebula list. Now, this list does run armor. Sometimes we'll have it on 2. If we don't, then we're gonna avoid and go away with that playline, and we're gonna focus on our high impact plays instead. The Sauron into Typhoid Mary, into like a Polaris plus an Ebony Maw. We can always do Chavez on the last turn. Sometimes we're gonna skip and soak with our Sunspot to enable a She-Hulk, Typhoid Mary, and Ebony Maw on the last turn. And overall, the deck has a lot of flexibility. And sometimes if our Nebula gets destroyed, that's okay. We're going to be doing high impact plays pretty much every turn of the game. So keeping up with that pacing is going to be very difficult, even if they destroy our Nebula. But if she gets stuck on the board, we have plenty of clog conditions in our Titania, Green Goblin, and Polaris to help us cap out that lane a little bit earlier, because we're enticing the opponent to play cards there, and then we can finish capping it out. That way Nebula can continue to gain power over time. And overall, the deck list feels phenomenal. So I hope that you guys are as excited as I am, because the deck is fantastic. The new season is here, and that is always when there is a lot of competitive gameplay. I'm going to be losing a lot of 4-cube matches. I'm going to be gaining a lot of 4-cube matches, and a lot more players are active, which makes the competition that much more fierce, and I love it. There are some pretty exciting plays, so you definitely don't want to miss out. Let's go ahead and jump into the new season of Marvel Snap. All right, next up we have Abe Lincoln. Like Abe Lincoln, like the president. Oh my gosh, it's too late. I'm too old to be staying up this late to do card releases. Oh my gosh. And the brewing hasn't been going great. I want to release something that is like a really good solid deck, and it hasn't been going great so far. I've tried about 4 or 5 different decks. Usually I can have a deck, have solid games, have it all panned out within about an hour on a new card release, because then I'm kind of untethered. I can use any cards, and I look for the most powerful thing that I can think of. And it's been a lot of up and down. Like, the decks have not been terrible, but I've been maintaining like a 50% win rate and like a 55% win rate, which is just doesn't feel good enough to feature. They did a Star-Lord, they lost their Spider-Man, but we lost our Titania. I don't know who got the worst end of that trade, because they can no longer lock us down in a location. Let's do Green Goblin into mid. I think they're gonna probably edge towards giving up the Project Pegasus lane. Now they have an armor, so they have an Enchantress, an armor, a Daredevil. I think they're probably looking for a Professor X lock. They have the Spider-Man as well. Speaking of, let's go ahead and snap. I think they might retreat off of that. That is so awful. They're running a lockdown list, and the Sokovia discarded both of their lockdowns. Our tentative playline was going to be a Polaris into mid to pull Daredevil over, cap this one out. We were going to skip on turn 5, let Sunspot soak. We'd have the She-Hulk plus whatever else we drew into to be able to cap out and finish off the game. We will go ahead and take the 1 cube. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Mog. The first location is Monster Metropolis. We have our Sunspot that we're going to throw down. Now, a lot of these cards are really powerful, impactful 1-cost cards. And so we have that overlap. A lot of people are saying which one's going to be better, Sunspot or Nebula. What if you do both? What if you have both in the same deck, in the same package? It gives you that consistency piece to almost always have one in your starting hand that you can lean in on. And then if you draw armor, perfect. If not, sometimes it's going to bait a Killmonger out early, or maybe it buys you time until you get your Killmonger. So let's go ahead and do the Green Goblin into Cloning Vats. We're just going to continue to hit them. They do have Quinjet, so everything they play and clone from the Cloning Vats will get bigger and bigger and bigger, unfortunately. but we are going to be able to do Green Goblin. Next turn, we could do something like Titania plus Green Goblin to send them a double missile. Oh, wow. We're not going to have space for a double missile. That's fine. So they do a Sunspot of their own with the same border, the same variant. They just have a different like effect, particle effect. Wow. So they're going to have a second Sunspot, a second armor, which is definitely scary. Very scary. I guess let's go Green Goblin into the left lane. I'm going to go Titania into the right lane because even if they play something here, it's not going to bounce to their side. We don't necessarily need to cap them out. It would be nice if we did, but we don't necessarily need to. Okay, so they do cap it. Ooh, they play their second Sunspot there. Oof, that's tough. Titania makes this a little bit tricky in a lot of cases for Mojo World because, I mean, one person may or may not be able to finagle it where they have the priority and keep enough cards in that location. I'm going to go ahead and skip here. We're going to float for the She-Hulk, the Titania, the Lizard. We have at least 4 solid resources we can use to try to swing Mojo World back in our favor. Ooh, they play just a Sunspot and Soak. Oof. All right, so if they do one card here, that's going to send Titania our way. It sends Titania our way. Lizard sends it back. She-Hulk calls it back. So then we are tied here. We can invest the last of our power into Monster Metropolis to try to make sure that we win this location as well. Now, if they don't play anything in Mojo World, then they got us. At that point, they got us. They played the mind games and they won, and they deserve it. But I think they're going to play in Mojo World. Honestly, actually, they could skip here. They could just skip here. I think they probably do. Now that I think about it, if I was them, I would skip here. I would soak with my 3 Sunspots, and I would soak my way to glory. Oh, wait, they don't. They don't do that. They play She-Hulk in the left lane, Moon Girl in mid. So we're going to be fighting for that middle location. But we do have the She-Hulk. We have the Lizard. And we have a Titania in the left lane. I don't know if it's enough. After the soak from Sunspot, I don't know if it's enough or not. It's going to be very, very close. Is that enough? We win by 10. They win by 5. Oh my gosh. We'll take it. That was too close. That was way too close. We're going to go ahead and take the 4 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. All right. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend. We have Raven. The first location is Sanctum Sanctorum. We don't have anything that goes wide in this deck. Plunder Castle. Oh my lord, what are these locations? This is the second game in a row that I've gotten Plunder Castle as well. I had to retreat out of the last one because all we have is the America Chavez, the She-Hulk, and I wasn't able to position the rest of our cards where we could have enough power to play in there on the last turn. And then Monster Island comes down in the right lane. Oh man. Let's go with the Green Goblin. We can potentially completely cap them out, which would be amazing. If we cap them out, then they're not going to be able to really play much else. They could do Dr. Doom in Plunder Castle in the last turn, yes. But I think we're okay. They could have a Chavez that's going to take, or a Shang-Chi that's going to take out our monster. They could have a Killmonger. What did they snap for? The Scarlet Witch. Okay, we're okay with the Scarlet Witch. Whoa, wow. And then we automatically shuffle our cards, which is kind of brutal. All right, so we do get Titania here. So let's do Titania and Sauron. We're gonna send it their way. We're not gonna get it back, but that's fine. We're okay with not getting it back. We could do maybe a Typhoid Mary into a Teal'c on the next turn. Maybe not, I don't know. Okay, so they didn't play, they skipped, they floated, we sent them Titania. Now all we have to do is do something like the abilityless Lizard. No, we played Sauron. We can do the abilityless Typhoid Mary. And then we're just competing for Plunder Castle. If they do something big like a Magneto, that's fine. They're not getting any power into the Sanctum Sanctorum. If they do a Dr. Doom, that's fine. We outpower them in the Plunder Castle lane. Because we do have the guaranteed draw from our America Chavez. So we'll see if they stick it out. They snapped. I'm not going to snap back on them. This is day one. I usually play it pretty passively. I just like to let the games play out for the most part. Just feel how the decks are going. But I understand for those that do want to play it, because it's in the game. It's a game design. They do end up retreating. We will take the 2 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Healthy Snacks. The first location is Central Park. We do finally get Nebula in an opening hand. We don't have armor to protect her just yet, but that's okay. I'm excited. I'm going to play it. I don't care. I don't care if it gets Killmonger. We're going to play it. We're just finally glad that we have it early. Now we can maybe draw armor. That would be the best thing ever. We're going to go ahead and protect the Nebula with our armor. Now, if they're running a junk deck, that's unfortunate. But otherwise, I think we're in a pretty decent spot here. They don't cap it out this turn, right? How risky? How bold are we? They could be running a beast bounce deck, and they could cap this one out with a beast to pull it back in. I want to, but at the same time, we have priority. This could ruin us. This is the shot, the opportunity to seize everything that we ever wanted. We don't want to squander it. We're gonna do it. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I was real stressed about it. I was real stressed that this was gonna be like an Iceman and a Beast, and they were gonna pull these back in, and I was gonna be stuck with the Green Goblin on my side. So now we're actually feeling pretty good. We're feeling really good. Titania, Ebony Nebula is gonna get massive over the course of the game. We're gonna be able to skip here, player She-Hulk out early. Ooh, that Polaris could have been trouble. They tried to yank the Nebula out of this lane, but luckily for us, the squirrels from Central Park saved us. Not very often do you thank the squirrels, but we're gonna thank the squirrels today. I'm gonna do Lizard. I know it's only gonna be 1 power over there, but honestly, I'm okay with that. I just don't want She-Hulk to go over there because we already have a substantial lead in that location. I just don't want it to get shifted over there. They play a Scarlet Witch. This looks like a Sarah tech, a Sarah control. There comes the Killmonger. Thankfully, our Nebula is protected. It's going to continue to grow. Now, we played our Why do we play Titania? What are we doing? Why did I play Titania? Oh no, I'm choking. Like, we're choking, right? Now it introduces the mind games, and I don't like the mind games. I don't play the mind games. So if they had a Shang-Chi here, we're actually okay with that. Shang-Chi plus something could bounce Titania over onto their side. We're actually okay with that. We would have played the Typhoid Mary. That brings She-Hulk down below the Shang-Chi range. It brings this down by 4, but we're ahead by enough that it doesn't matter. And then this lane, I think we would be able to maybe win. But we do get the retreat. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. We finally get a good use case for Nebula. That feels fantastic. All right, next up we have the Apocalypse. And Dark Dimension does us a favor. We can hide our Ebony Maw over there. We have still yet to get a real player match with Nebula in our starting hand. Like, it's becoming kind of depressing. She's in the deck. She's there. We're just not drawing her, which is unfortunate. We've hit everywhere around her, and with Chavez, like, we should really be able to draw her a lot earlier, a lot more consistently. The last location turns into the Sanctum Sanctorum, so we're gonna have to rely on drawing into Polaris here. Polaris could potentially pull the Nebula out. That's the only way that we can win this location now. Like, that is the only thing that we have. Let's go with the Typhoid Mary. If we don't draw into Polaris, then we'll skip next turn, and we're just going to have to fight for these 2 locations instead. If we draw into our Nebula, they do use Sarah, so they can flood some pretty big resources from pretty big power onto the board. It sucks seeing everybody else get their Nebula set up. I can't even touch it. It is so disheartening. So disheartening. All right, let's go with like this and this. I think we lose. This is a big lane to overcome. I think we lose. We're gonna try it. We're gonna see if we overcome their Sanctum Sanctorum Nebula, which is wild. So they flood the left lane. We do win mid. They put a lot of power into the left lane. So the Sentinel they wouldn't do a Killmonger. The Titania is kind of wild. And they reveal first, so their Shang-Chi doesn't give them any benefit. The Enchantress doesn't give them any benefit. Super wild. We do win the left lane. We win mid. I'm baffled. See, we got a use case for Nebula. She brought Titania back to our side.